Hello everyone, welcome to Task IS. We were discussing topic of anthropological theories. Till now we have completed theories till structuralism, classical evolutionism, historical particularism, diffusionism, functionalism and structure functionalism, and also structuralism. And you can watch these videos on our YouTube channel. Now culture personality school. Here 5 main thinkers are given. That's why this will be a larger theory, and of course video will be of long duration, so have patience, listen carefully. And again, this is a very important topic, and UPSC liked it most because there are many female anthropologists in this school. Now, culture and personality school. It is an important study in psychological anthropology. That means it is a combination of both psychology as well as anthropology. Now, this school has taken inspiration from Edward Sapir. He was a famous linguistic and anthropologist, and also from American School of Thought. And he has argued that perception could be understood and analyzed by individuals only when things will be perceived not only as a segmented form but in a holistic form. That means these things will be perceived only when they will be perceived as an organized element. You can link this with structure of culture. That means you can't perceive culture traits as a singular form. You have to perceive culture as a organized as well as complex form. So this was a linguistic theory, but culture personality school has taken idea of complex nature of culture from this school. Secondly, another famous American anthropologist, that is Franz Boas, also influenced these thinkers by his idea of culture relativism. Now, this theory explains that there are different types of personality in each culture, ranging from an ideal type to opposite type. And this is the culture who has role in shaping different or opposite personalities. For example, you can mention that India is the land of a famous personalities like Abdul Kalam, but here we will also find some radical element or some terrorist. So this is the role of different cultures that have shaped them. And in culture personality school, these anthropologists have adopted various methods of psychology to understand culture and personality of different individuals. So now we will study about different thinkers. Firstly, Ruth Benedict. Here we have taken some idea regarding this school. This can be used as an introduction, where we have discussed his second name and also the motivational factor for this school and the aim of this school. Later we will discuss about contribution and limitation. So these points will be a short note on culture personality school. Apart from this, you can write some 1 or 2 lines about each and every thinker, and there are 5 thinkers, so it will be a good short note for 250 marks as well. Now, Ruth Benedict. She was a famous anthropologist and she has a influencing personality as well. She was known for this also, and she wrote a famous book, that is Pattern of Culture. In this book, she has mentioned that there is a consistency or coherence between culture types and pattern of emotions of individuals of that society. It means that culture has role in shaping emotions of an individual. According to her, culture promotes a personality type, and the culture in which you grow will have a role in shaping your emotions or your actions. And she was originator of configurational approach to study of culture. Configurational approach means that you will identify different parts of any subject, for example culture here, and here configuration shows that you will treat those parts as individual as well as a complex whole, where you will study culture aspects in individual form as well as their influence and interdependence with each other. Now this was his original idea, that every culture has a unique configuration. That means unique ideas, unique customs, traditions, these are aspects of a culture, and every culture has its unique configuration, and these unique configuration or these unique pattern of life will determine personality traits, and personality traits includes emotions, behavior of an individual. Here he also includes his physique, because nutrition or stress also a part of culture. Now, according to cultural configuration that she has given, culture configuration not only deals with personality characteristics alone, but also deals with underlying ideas, values that a society or a culture will imbibe in child or young ones. That means in culture configuration we will do a holistic study, not partial studies, where ideas, values, all these aspects, even moral or ethical values will be included. Now she has discussed two important societies, that is Zuni of Southwest America and Kwakitul of Northeast Coast of America. She has described that Zuni were foragers in resource rich environment, whereas Kwakitul were agriculturists. Foragers means they were collecting food from here and there. Now she has described that Zuni were very cooperative and they were interested in social life. Here focus on individual aspects or individual needs is less. That means they have less selfish nature. Now child training practices or child rearing practices are such that they suppress individuality and focus on maintaining their social organization or social cooperation, whereas Kwakitul were ambitious and striving. Here individuality is emphasized because here there is a focus that individual should be superior to others, only then that individual can control others. And here child rearing practice focusing on achievement of the individual over cooperation with the group. So you can easily correlate Zuni as a Eastern society or a typical Indian society where cooperation is focused, whereas in Kwakitul society you can compare this with Western society where individual aspects are more highlighted. So she has explained that differences lies in the cultural value system. We are discussing these different examples because if you study these examples, then only you will be able to understand what she concludes about her studies. So listen them carefully. Now these differences lies because of cultural value system. And according to her, these cultures are not biologically transmitted. These are transmitted by process of socialization. Thus, role of family society is very important. And here culture also includes social understanding, traditions, etc. So you can see that Ruth Benedict has defined culture in the same way as defined by Tyler. Although she has not defined actually what is culture, but she has given one same point as given by Taylor, that culture is more about social life, not about biological life. So this point given by both of them. And these values or these culture aspects are transferred by process of interaction between individual and community members. See, she has not mentioned word socialization. And she has noticed from her study of Zuni and Kwakitul that human beings can be categorized into two groups. That is, one is Apollonian and second is Dionysian. In Apollonian pattern, there is focus on discipline, peace and kindness, as we have seen in Zuni society. But in Dionysian, there is focus on aggressiveness, anger, selfishness. So she has compared this with Greek gods, where Dionysian is about wine gods and Apollonian is about sun god or light. And according to her, these two groups mold the personality of other members as well. It means Apollonian personality compels other members to behave in a cooperative way and promote brotherhood and unity among different people, but Dionysian group will promote for opposite characteristics, and these will lead to formation of special cultural characteristics for the group. Here C has concluded that personality influenced the culture. In earlier times, she has mentioned about how culture has a unique configuration, and this unique configuration will determine personality traits. So this was given by her in earlier times, but later from his study of Juni and Quakitul, she has mentioned about Apollonian and Dionysian characteristics, and she has described that personality influence culture. This is the main point, because when you will compare with other thinkers, then you will understand that her main point was personality influence culture, how personality shape our culture. If in any society there are more types of Apollonian individuals, then the culture will be more cooperative and more collective spirit. But if any society there are more individuals type of Dionysian, then that society will focus on selfishness. So these two were her points. After that, during Second World War, she has wrote another book, that is Chrysanthemum and the Sword. We have discussed this name earlier also when we were discussing about meaning, scope and development of anthropology, where we have discussed about purpose of anthropology to make this world safe for human differences. So this was point of Ruth Benedict in her book Chrysanthemum and the Sword. In this book, she has defined about pattern of culture of Japanese people. Here, she was as an anthropologist chosen by American government for studying Japanese culture during Second World War, where American people were interested in understanding two contrasting features of Japanese personality. And during this work, she has not done participant observation of Japanese people due to wartime restrictions, but here she has done distant study. That means she has studied those people from a distance. She has utilized secondary data, for example, views of some traders or some Japanese people who are living in American society, and she has taken interview of those people to understand actual Japanese characteristics, their personality, and this has led to development of national character studies in anthropology. It means every nation has some typical characteristics, and these characteristics are shown by personality of these nations, and this is known as national characteristic studies. So she described that Japanese culture has a typical pattern. That means during their child rearing practices in early ages, they focus on inculcating values of love, affection, obedience, care. These values are incorporated because they rear child with such feelings. But once the child grown up and they entered in phase of adolescence, now start the second phase, external restrictions are imposed on their activities. They have to do every task with a determined set of culture patterns. That means there are a lot of restrictions. So she has compared that child rearing practices in Japan can be related to national flower of Japan, that is chrysanthemum, where in earlier childhood children are reared with same care and love as a flower needs, and they are treated with so much softness and freedom, whereas in adolescence there is so much strictness that she has compared with sword, and during this sword they have to go through a tough life. That means every Japanese people will have two personalities, because in their lifetime also they have gone through two phases, that is one is love and second one is toughness. and this second phase made them aggressive and violent. This was observed because during wartime, Japanese people were very aggressive and violent. But if you met any Japanese during normal times, they were very affectionate, very caring, show very cooperation. So these different traits has led to interest that these Japanese cultures needs to be understand. Now, drawbacks of Ruth Benedict theory. She has failed to provide why culture exists. What is the origin of culture? Because she has not considered any historical fact. So first drawback is that. Secondly, how these personality traits are passed from one generation to another. Again, she has failed to define any terms like diffusion or acculturation. These terms are not defined by her. Even terms like socialization was not used by her. Thus, she has focused on present societies that she has studied. She has described influence of culture on personality and personality on culture, but her focus was mainly on how personality determines culture, because she has given point to substantiate this argument. Now that's all for her. We have written her drawbacks regarding contribution in the last. When we will deal with contribution and limitation of theory, you can take points from there. Now second important thinker is Margaret Mead. She has also contributed in Culture Personality School and she has done various studies. So now list of her work is that firstly, her childhood and adolescent studies in the Pacific Islands. Secondly, she has done work in Bali together with another individual, that is Batson, and in Bali she has studied Arapes, Mundugumor, Chambuli and Latmul of New Guinea. When she was doing work in Bali, she has utilized films and still photographs for her field work. So she is important personality for introducing concept of visual anthropology, where films and other visual instruments were used for field work. Now, we have discussed that Ruth Benedict's main idea was how personality influences culture of any society. Margaret Mead has an important point that culture determines individual personality. She has given this main idea, but she has not neglected ideas of Ruth Benedict that personality influences culture. You can easily correlate these points, that sometimes you have a strong point and that becomes your individual and unique point that become famous later, but other points you maybe satisfy those points but you don't substantiate these different points. So same case was with Mead. In her work, that is Sex and Temperament, she has in three primitive societies, she has studied three different societies to prove that is Arapes, Mundugumor and Champole. Now, apart from this, she had also studied male and female studies of sexes in changing world. These two were her important work, and from this work she had concluded that culture has role in formation of gender, because we also studied that gender has a social construct. If this is a social construct, then always remember culture has a role in forming gender, because culture will define what is division of labor, what are the differences or discrimination between different genders or between different sections in that particular society will be followed. Now, from study of Arapes, she has found that there is a very high casualness in their culture. Both male and females are submissive in nature, they will not show aggressiveness, and these different features like submissive nature, don't argue with others, these traits are praised in this society, in Arapes society. Secondly is Mundugumor. In this society, both females and males are aggressive. That means here focus on fighting and showing some inferior and superior hierarchy. These characteristics are followed, and here focus is on showing superiority, competition, jealousy, eagerness. These are different traits of these individuals, and again these traits are supported by their culture. And Mead has shown that the culture practices like struggle, conflict and competition between different people has a effect on the young individuals of these society. That means here culture practices are forming personality of different individuals. Similarly, she has found in another society, that is Champoli, where males are submissive but females are aggressive. This is another unique aspect because here Champoli is a matrilineal society where power is transferred from mother to daughter. And this submissive nature of man in this culture is also reflected in behavior of young boys also. This was studied from her book, that is Sex and Temperament in Three Different Societies. But first line about Mead, we have studied that she has done study on childhood and adolescence in Pacific Island. So we will study about this study in detail now. Her book of, that is Coming of Age in Samoa, it is based on her study of adolescence in two different societies, that is Samoa as well as on American adolescent girls. She has found that there is a correlation between stress that is associated with adolescence life as well as culture of any particular society. Here stress is associated because this is a phase of transition whereas biological as well as social changes are going through. In adolescence, biological changes are associated with appearance of primary as well as secondary sexual characteristics. Similarly, when a child enters in adolescent phase, family and society has some expectations from him or her to behave in a particular way according to their culture. For example, in our society there is a focus on showing obedience and taking responsibility for his or her own work. So these are some of the expectations during adolescent life, and that led to pressure because of biological as well as social transition. Now Mead has noticed that this stress is not equally put on adolescents in different societies because this stress level is also depend on culture. According to her, in Samoa, courage, arrogance, these qualities are not encouraged, but here is focus on casualness, be obedient, be cheerful, wake up early. These are different habits that adolescents are expected to follow, and they are expected to be show gentle behavior and being generous with others, and these are opposite to the adolescent behavior that was expected from Japanese adolescent. You can compare this, and this Japanese studies was done by Ruth Benedict, but you can compare these points. She has mentioned that this was some of the habits that are promoted, and that's why these little girls of Samoa has very less stress during adolescent transition. These girls are living together, they are discussing on these topics or these issues that they are facing in their biological as well as social life. And if we consider cultural freedom of that society, then we notice that here boys and girls can live together, even they can spend night together if they are not committing any incest. This is very surprising. That was mentioned by Margaret Mead. And even adults did not take these activities as very much serious. But opposite to this, in American society there are very high restrictions on adolescents regarding their behavior with opposite sex, how they can talk and what they can talk and where she can meet and Also the dressing pattern when she will meet with others, especially with opposite sex. So these restrictions has led to stress on the American adolescents, whereas in Samoa these stress are not founded. That's why she has concluded that this cultural conditioning has led to development of stress. So till now we have studied her two different studies, that is sex and temperament in three primitive societies, and also regarding her study in Samoa and American society regarding adolescent phase. Now she was also interested in studying a mental disorder, that is schizophrenia, and in this disorder individuals have tendency to live alone, to spend time alone, and stay away from social gatherings or events. When she studied society of Bali, she has found that in their society there is a unique practice that individuals are promoted to live this unconscious life for some time, and they promote this dissociation from social life. That means that loneliness is promoted in society of Bali. So she has understood that this disorder is also related with our cultural pattern. Now another work is Balinese character, and in this study she has used recording and presentation of data, which is important for visual anthropography, and she has done a long stay in this society for field work. So in Bali we have come to know that she has done is study on mental disorder as well as study on three primitive societies. She has also studied on American food habits, and these habits were studied during time of World War. So she has noticed impact on mental health when food that was for civil people is stored for military or army people. So during wartime, there is a shortage of food, and when during this shortage food is stored for army people, what is the impact on mental health of the individual? This was studied by her. So that's why she was famous for her studies on mental health and also introducing this concept of mental health for physicians and social workers. She was also a role model for American women because she was doing a professional work, and she also highlighted how females should focus on utilizing their rights. But also remember, she has also focused on duties of a mother. So, although she was a feminist, she has shown some characteristics of feminist, but she was not against different social institutions like marriage or family. Due to these behaviors and these characteristics, she was also important for UPSC female aspirants, especially during interview stage. But there are criticisms against her, and these criticisms are that she has not done a studies on large scale. This was because her studies were taken as a short stories. For example, in Samoa, she has interviewed only some dozens of girls. So this was not a large scale study. That's why others have criticized her. Secondly, she has not taken into historical and economic factors for her studies. Remaining criticism you will take from the part of limitations of this school, that is culture and personality school. So we have completed two thinkers. Third is Abraham Gardner. He has published Individual and Society, and another famous book was Psychological Frontiers of Society. This book, Psychological Frontiers of Society, was a collective work of Gardner plus Linton plus Cora Dubois. According to him, in every society some basic characteristics. This basic characteristic you can also relate with basic structure of our constitution. That means some characteristics will have some basic or foundation for every society, and these characteristics are found in every society, and this is called as basic personality structure according to him. Gardner and Linton, these both are founders of this concept, basic personality structure. and these both thinkers have given a unique idea, that is culture influence personality as well as personality influence culture. Till now we have studies that Benedict has a important idea of how personality determines culture, and Mead has an idea of how our culture determines personality. But these two thinkers, and later also by Cora Dubos, this was argued that this is not a one-way relationship, but this is a two-way relationship where both influence each other. So we have discussed about basic personality structure of Gardner. Now another concept was, according to Gardner, there is a order, that is primary institution, and then is a basic personality, and after that is secondary institution. This was the order given by him. According to him, primary institution determine basic personality of an individual, and then this basic personality determines secondary institution of culture. So here culture determines personality and the personality determines culture. You can understand this from an example of marriage. For example, in marriage there are rituals and various customs are followed. So primary institution is this, that various rituals and customs are followed. So this has impact on individual, that individual also believe in customs and practices, but individual has decided different patterns, that is love marriage, arranged marriage. These are changes in our culture by activities of individual. So here culture has determined personality and personality has determined culture. I hope you have understood this concept. So according to him, primary institutions, and these primary institutions, for example, child rearing practices, which are basic for making any individual social, these are primary institutions. And according to him, from this model, that culture and personality are integrated, where both influence each other. Thus, he has substantiated his points. Now, primary institutions are those which produce basic personality, and secondary institutions are those which are product of basic personality. We have discussed them earlier. Now, some examples of primary institutions according to Gardner are housing, family types, descent types, because these an individual face in his early life when he is child generally. Now, secondary institutions are training practices or technology use or another aspects like religion. And according to Gardner, religion and politics are two spheres where basic personality of any society will be reflected. You can understand this because in religion as well as in politics, in both these spheres, always leaders will come. In religion, you can consider only those individuals which practice religious aspects and customs of any society or culture. Individuals will come forward, thus they will reflect culture of any society. Similarly, who will enter politics, they will also be leaders, and they have these social traits in ample amount. That's why they have come forward, and these political leaders also reflect culture of any society. So this was given by Gardner. But there are some drawbacks of his theory, that he has given basic personality type. That means some basic features will be found in every individual of that society, but he has not explained about variations, how variations will come and what is the reason for variations. So till now we have discussed about Gardner, his famous work, that is Individuals and Society, Psychological Frontiers of Society, that is collaborative work of three important thinkers. Now his concept of basic personality structure and his model of primary institution, basic structure and secondary institutions, and he has also defined primary institution, secondary institution. He has given some examples, and now we have discussed about his drawbacks, that he was not able to define variations. Now Ralph Linton. Earlier he was an archaeologist, but later he has developed in cultural anthropology. Linton was also important for giving basic personality structure, because we have discussed earlier also Gardner and Linton both have worked on concept of basic personality structure. Now he has utilized his concept to study Melanesian and American Indians. And he has given another important concept of status and role. We have discussed about these terms earlier also, that is status shows what is the position of an individual in society, and what is role shows that what is the function of that individual in society. You have discussed these points in social structure under idea of Radcliffe Brown, where every individual also have some status and role, and this we will discuss later in detail under unit 2. So this definition of status and role given by Linton in his book, that is Study of Man. And in this book he has also shown about adaptation of cultural traits in American culture, because he had studied American as well as Melanesian culture. How different cultural traits are adapted in American society, because American society is a heterogeneous society. So he has given some hint about idea of acculturation, but he has not used this term or defined this term, but he has given some idea regarding this. Now Linton's other famous book is Cultural Background of Personality. Here he has given his views on relationship between culture and personality. He has mentioned that we can classify culture on the basis of behavior. That means we can determine culture on the basis of behavior, that is personality. Here personality determines culture, and second line was how personality influence culture. Thus in this book he has given his concept that how personality also impact individuals. But we have discussed earlier that Gardiner and Linton has given this model that culture and personality both influence each other. Now he has published several books on acculturation of Native Americans. Acculturation means when any different society, for example X or Y, where Y have adopted some cultural practices of X without any force. This is a gradual or slow transmission of cultural traits from X to Y. This is the process of acculturation. So he has defined this process of acculturation of Native Americans without using term acculturation. Next is Gardiner and Linton. Similar work was given basic personality, and later also primary institution, basic structure, and then the secondary institutions. This model also was given by both of them. So same points you can write here also. So till now we have discussed about Linton's work, that is basic personality, his work on Melanesian and American Indians. He has described about acculturation process. His book in Study of Man, he has discussed about role of status. Now another book was Cultural Background of Personality. He has defined how culture and personality influence each other. After that you can discuss about his model. Now Cora Dubos, this is last thinker. She has done MA from Columbia University and PhD from University of Berkeley. There is no need to write these points, but if you have some background about any personality, then you develop interest about reading him or her. That's why I am telling you these points. So she has influence from Gardiner, and she has also done cross-cultural diagnosis and psychoanalytic studies. Psychoanalytic studies you can easily connect with psychological anthropology, that was another name for culture personality school. Now cross-cultural diagnosis, this was done by earlier anthropologists also to understand what is the relationship of culture and personality. She wrote book People of Alor 1944, and Alor is in Indonesia. So in this social psychological study she has given concept of model personality structure. Earlier Linton and Gardiner has given concept of basic personality. Now Cora Dubos has utilized this concept and given his modified concept, that is model personality. In basic personality we have discussed that every society has some basic features, and these features are inculcated in every individual. That's why a basic personality will form. According to Cora Dubos, model personality is that personality which is found frequently in every society. That means this is statistically most important personality of any society. And she has also discussed about variation, that variation exists in every culture because every culture shape an individual, but it is not necessary that individual will inculcate all traits of culture, and depending on the inculcation of traits, variation will occur in personalities. Gardiner, Cora Dubos and Ralph Linton, they have given this collective work, that is Psychological Frontiers of Society. This book, they have discussed about 3 different culture, that is Comanche culture, Alores culture and the culture of American rural community. American rural community, this was studied by Linton. Alores culture studied by Cora Dubos. Similarly, Comanche was studied by any one of them. Now, Cora Dubos, she went to study Alor Island in Dutch Indian Studies, and here she has collected ethnographic as well as psychological data. And she has same conclusion about basic characteristics of Alor's personality, but she has utilized her analysis to give different model, that is model personality. Now you can conclude that firstly she has analyzed concept of model personality that was given by Gardiner and Linton, and then she has given new concept. So this is model personality is statistically most certain personality in any culture. She has also agreed with concept of primary institutions that was given by Linton as well as Gardiner. She recognized that one personality is developed and expressed in unique way because every individual will inculcate certain characteristics in a different way, and that lead to development of variation. And her model personality concept also utilize another concept of psychic unity of mankind, because according to her there is higher frequency of model personality because of underlying idea of psychic unity of mankind. But she has also given variations also, always remember that. And according to her, infant or child is like a blank state and on which everyone can write something, and these written aspects are role of culture. Now we will discuss contribution of culture personality school. This was important school during early 20th century, and they have utilized different new ways like clinical interviews, dream analysis, life histories, participant observation for their work. That's why they were also known for visual anthropology and utilizing a multi-dimensional approach during field work. Now they have used these different methods to show that every child or every individual will have certain personality traits because of culture, and these traits will be unique to every culture. Thus there can't be any concept of superiority or inferiority, because superiority inferiority will come when you will give similar culture traits to different individual, then only one will react and another will not react. But if different culture traits are given, different people are behaving according to their own culture, then there is no concept of superiority or inferiority or any hierarchy. And this was also used to counter concept of racism. You can write that this culture personality school has role in developing equality between different cultures, and you can easily relate their view because they were inspired from cultural relativism concept of Franz Boas. Now they have focused on individual aspects, how individual is behaving and how individual's role is maintaining cultural aspects or changing cultural aspects. And this was against the earlier anthropologist who has focused on giving universal laws for human behavior. For example, Radcliffe Brown, he want to give some universal concept. So they have focused on individuals aspects in society or culture. Now criticism, there are many criticism. Firstly, there is no demonstration that how any culture is imbibed in different individuals of any society, and they have not done any historical analysis. These factors were ignored by them. And similarly, if they are studying national character studies, for example Ruth Benedict, she has also didn't study any historical aspects of Japanese society. Now, in Samoa's study, Mead had mentioned that there is a freedom in society regarding sexual aspects, but Freeman has mentioned that there is a strict virginity rules are followed in Samoan society. So there is a criticism on choosing small sample of Samoan girls by Mead. But again, different thinkers are different views. Someone has criticized Freeman also because there is a time gap of 15 years between study of Mead and Freeman. That means in 15 years maybe those societies has developed some restrictions. So there are different argues by different thinkers. Now Marvin Harris, he is a well-known culture materialist. He has criticized Mead for being too generalized about emotions of Samoan girls, because it is not necessary that every girl will feel that much freedom. Even in our society also, some families are more liberal and some are more conservative. So how she can generalize these points? Again, Gardiner and Linton idea of basic personality has ignored variations, although Cora Dubois model personality has included variation aspect. So you can write these criticisms, that is they are very generalized. There is also issue of fieldwork studies, also no historical aspect or environmental aspects are included. So that's all for today. I will request you to like, share and subscribe our channel. That will give motivation to work for these lectures. And this was a long as well as important theory, so please revise these lectures again and again so that your basic concepts will be good. So that's all. Thank you so much.